Hey everybody, it's Romania Black. I just got off work and I'm ready for some JuJutsu Kaisen. I was like, from the preview, I was like, baseball, okay, because it was in the OP. When the baseball scene was in the OP, I was like, oh, well, that's just gonna be like a throwaway shot. Little do we know, take nothing for granted with the OPs of JuJutsu Kaisen. Every shot is going to be in the series at some point, right? But so on Twitter, there was a couple people talking about this episode because I was like, where does baseball fit into that? Is that the second game in the tournament? Are we doing Twilight? Are we just gonna have a baseball game to determine who wins? And someone commented on Twitter that the mangaka who created Jujutsu Kaisen, once this whole incident with Hanami was over, was like, okay, we need to take a breather. And so they did the baseball game as a breather. And then the mangaka said, okay, now that the breather's over, it's not going to stop. I'm all for that. I'm like, okay, cool. So we have this one breather episode. Episode 21 is going to be a breather. And then 22, 23, and 24 are going to be rounding out this season and building to a second season, possibly. Okay, cool. And plus, I've said this since Yuji came back to Nobara and Fushiguro, in that they've not seen him for 3 months. So yeah, there needs to be some bonding. We've had bonding between Yuji and Toto for sure. They're best bros, they're best friends, brothers. But we haven't had that big bonding moment between Yuji and Fushiguro and Nobara again. You know, they haven't had time to do that. So I'm hoping that this episode gives us some of that. That's my hope anyway. But I don't consider this filler. If this was part of the manga, if this was an inserted point in the manga and the mangaka's like, take this one episode to breathe before we dive back into the chaos, I'll take it. So that's what we're doing. But I'm pretty excited for this episode. I hope y'all are too. Thank you all so much for watching. And yeah, last episode was insane. Goro popped off with some purple hollow energy. Hanami, I guess, is defeated. Who knows? We don't know for sure. And then, yeah, Mahito got the finger. He killed some guys and got the finger of Sukuna. And the coat rack man guy did not get away, but the little underling, the blonde-haired guy in, like, the jumpsuit got away. So I'm curious to know what all is going on there. I feel like the last 3 episodes of the season have to be building up some insane stuff. And this one episode's going to be like, enjoy your breather now, because things are about to get real. And it's like, okay, I will do that if you tell me so. So anyway, that's all I've got to say. I'm ready to start this episode. I hope y'all are too. We're going to start episode 21 of JuJutsu Kaisen, JuJutsu Koshien. Interesting. And we're going to start that here in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Fushiguro? Are we getting Fushiguro Center in all this? Whoa. Okay. Huh. So, man, that was not a filler episode at all. There was stuff happening, and I appreciate that the mangaka's like, okay, you're gonna have your little breath before we jump right back into this nonsense. The death paintings, there's the 3 Mahito with the 3 death paintings in the preview, and people dying and Fushiguro looking freaked out and this new person driving them around. I'm super intrigued. So yeah, this was not a filler episode. There was so much happening and going on. Oh my gosh. So with both Mahito and Geto and Jogo, and Hanami somehow lived, with both our antagonists, our curses and our curse users, and with our principals and the Jujutsu sorcerers, Yuji is this weird kind of neutral bomb. Because on the one hand, like the principal for Tokyo Jujutsu School said, like the principal said, he's like, look, Yuji may have been responsible for some conflict and the curse users getting involved in all this, and the curses too, but Yuji's also saved our own people. So we can't just lump him in with the curses and just say that he's evil. We can't just do that because he's clearly done good, and we've seen that in action. And so we don't know what to do with him. We can't really do anything. We just got to let him go the course now, and if we have regrets later, that's just part of being a Jujutsu sorcerer, and we'll figure it out then. So their method is like, we just gotta steady the course and monitor him. And I love that the elder is like, it's because of Gojo's selfishness. That he's got a chip on his shoulder, and it's because he's being selfish that and forcing us to let Yuji live that we can't just get him out of the way. Which is interesting. And yeah, Gojo is a little selfish. This is true. Gojo is very much doing things for his own agenda. He's not following the other sorcerers or the elders or anything. He's doing this because he's a revolutionary and he wants to do what he wants to do. So yeah, Gojo is kind of like chaotic good. Like he's got some chaoticness in him for sure. And then whereas I think that the one principle is true good, and then the elder, for the elder talking about killing Yuji, he's very lawful good. He's like, look, this is how it's always been. We need to do this. So I don't hate the elder. At first when we started this and they were like, kill Yuji, I was like, what are you doing? But he's got a point, but so does the principal and Gojo. So it's like, what do you do? And then you have the antagonists who, like Jogo said, he's like, well, why don't we just kill Yuji and kidnap him now? And Geto's like, no, we can't do that because he's a bomb. Sukuna, as we've seen with Mahito, Sukuna could easily kill all of them if they don't get him on his side. So he's like, we don't want to do that. And then the landmine. The idea, for some reason, Sukuna has something out for Fushiguro. Sukuna is attracted to Fushiguro for some reason. And it's like, and Geto and them don't know that it's Fushiguro, but they're like, for some reason, if we kill a student that's connected, that might trigger something, and we don't want that happening. So that's fascinating to me. And then they brought up the Shibuya. That Shibuya is going to happen on October 31st on Halloween. I've seen that title thrown around on Twitter, and I've had to be really, really careful and ignore a lot of JuJutsu Kaisen posts on Twitter. I've ignored and muted a lot of things because I don't want to be spoiled. But I've heard Shibuya thrown around. And Commodore Laws recently did a video about the Shibuya incident. It's got a ton of views. I've not watched it, obviously, because I've not read the manga, and I don't want to be spoiled. And so I'm wondering, I was like, Mappa, is this your subtle way of telling us that season 2 of JuJutsu Kaisen is going to come out in October? Is this your subtle way of saying that? That if the Shibuya incident is in Halloween, is that what we're building towards? Is that what we're planning? Okay. Because it's summer right now in the series, so are we planning for fall, like months ahead of time, that we're all going to come back to this? I don't know. But I love that they ate pizza with Fushiguro, like eating the pizza in his lap while he's in bed recovering. And I love the dynamic between Nobara, Fushiguro, and Yuji. Like, I love their dynamic. Like, Nobara and Fushiguro are very much friends. Like, they've developed this close companionship. And Yuji's also now back in there, too. And Toto's just hanging along for the ride. Toto is convinced they're besties only. And Fushiguro and Nobara are like, who's this guy? But I love the rapport they have with each other. And I love that Fushiguro's like, man, Yuji, you've gotten really strong and you've become a stronger sorcerer. I need to step up my game too, and I need to become as good as you, so you're my rival now. And it's like, oh, it's like, Fushiguro, are you his rival? I don't know, but you keep telling yourself that. I love their friendship is so different than, because every shonen anime, or for the most part, most shonen anime have like your trio of 3. Like Naruto, you had Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto. When you had Bleach, you had Uryu, you had Orihime, and Ichigo. When you had One Piece, you originally had Zoro, Nami, and Luffy, and then it just expanded from there. There was the token girl character and the 2 best bro characters. And obviously shows in series like One Piece, their cast is so huge now that trio doesn't exactly hold true. It's so expansive, it's not really a thing anymore. But most of the time you have the 2 guys and the token girl. And this show has that, but it does something really cool with it, where the token girl character is not the love interest of either one of these guys. She's not their love interest at all. She's friends with both of them, and their personalities don't, like, usually the Fushiguro character in like a 1990s, early 2000s shonen would be dark and mysterious and just a jerk. And Fushiguro's not a jerk. He's compassionate and kind and supportive. He's just quiet. And Yuji can be brash, but he's also very thoughtful and friendly and sweet. And it's like, you're taking all these tropes and subverting them, and I love them. So yeah, I like they just drew out in a hat, what are we going to do to settle this whole thing, and we settled it with the baseball game. And just the idea that it was bonding not only for our trio, but bonding with the other characters too, like Toto and Yuji bonding, obviously. And oh my god, him holding him as he got hit in the face with the ball. Just nice beach. but Kamo and Yuji finding bonds. Because Kamo was the one, 6 episodes back, Kamo was the one that's like, yep, we're going to kill Yuji. He's got a curse in him. We don't care. And this episode, he realizes that him and Yuji have so much in common. Like, they have so much that they can connect to each other. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's so wonderful. I love it so much. Oh, this episode was great. But we're back to the chaos. And one more thing. That blonde-haired dude, I'm assuming that they were talking about when they were... For one thing, we got an image of this white-haired person with a buzz cut. Who the heck was that? That's a character we've never seen. So I like that Ichijoji was like, maybe the coat rack guy is just spouting nonsense and that's not a real person. He's just using that as a surrogate for Geto because they don't want the other side to know about Geto. They don't want the Jujutsu sorcerers to know Geto's still alive. So this bob-haired cut sorcerer curse user is his mental surrogate so that he keeps going back to that instead of saying that it's Geto. So we've got that character if they're real or if it's just a made-up surrogate. But also the blonde one. That start of the episode where the blonde character looked like it was going to eat the curse. Like it was going to chop it up and eat it. Which is weird, maybe. But also, like Mahito and him had such tension in that moment that Mahito's like, don't be stepping out of line. You're human. And then the guy was like, oh, that's funny that I didn't know you were that. I didn't know that you could understand such subtleties, curse. And it's like just the tension between those two characters, I'm assuming that's going to come back into play in the story, that's going to get built on, but that was intriguing. But man, so they stole 6 fingers of Sukuna, which is, Yuji's had 3 now? And there were 10 fingers. So that's a problem. That's a problem. Yeah, so they've got 6 of them in their possession. And Yuji's had at least 2 or 3 at this point. He's had 3, I think, so there's 1 still out there missing, right? Maybe? Probably need to go back and count those. But yeah, so that's problematic. There's these death paintings, which are in the little jars, the Akira-like capsules. It reminded me of the movie Akira, in those capsules, and that weird doll item that's with them. And it looks like those are going to come into play the next episode. Blind obedience. Interesting. So yeah, lots of stuff still to happen, but this episode was great. After all the shenanigans that went down the last couple episodes, this was still stakes, still engaging, but it was like okay, well, we settled that whole Kyoto-Tokyo exchange event. Glad we got that out of the way. Now we can have 3 episodes that build towards a second season. Cool. And I'm thoroughly convinced that they're going to do a second season. I mean, as popular as this manga and anime have been, I'm like, come on, you guys are going to do a second season. You are. I mean, okay. So, that's exciting. But in the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed this reaction. Please feel free to comment down below. I'm super excited to see what you guys thought about this. Please, no spoilers. I'm an anime only on this, and I actually am enjoying being an anime only because it's given me stuff to look forward to, being surprised about. But yeah, I'm really excited. I hope you all are too. But yeah, we're going to be back next week with episode 22 of JuJutsu Kaisen. So in the meantime, have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and I'll talk to y'all again real soon.